a good answer. Coming back to yourself, Jim, I would like to ask, you've done some research into all of the various mobile data usage, I beg your pardon. Have you found anything from the development, from the content creator's point of view, which would lend itself to what these gentlemen have been saying in terms of engaging and continuing to engage with the audience?
One thing we have picked up, and I mentioned briefly this morning, was the shift away from filling time to saving time, from wasting time to utility. And I think that what you've done, I mean, is a huge investment and well targeted. But what you've done plays to the way the market is moving, I think. And I think that as a centre of mass, because that's where the new users will be. They'll be looking for things that help them in their day-to-day life, rather than playing wasting time. So I think it plays. It plays to that. That dynamic. The other thing that happens then, I think, is that the turnover of those applications is lower, which I think is something you were suggesting just a little earlier. A game can be a hit and then it disappears in a couple of weeks. An application like your application would be something that somebody might use twice a week for 6 months, and there's no reason to stop if you keep updating it and you keep it as...
The nature of your running and cycling, you're building up a log.
Yes.
And so, once you've done 20, you really want to just keep continuing on that path.
But you want to keep consistency and tie into that data.
Can I comment on the App Store
please.
dynamic on that, though, is although we've got these customers and they're expecting free updates time after time after time, the App Stores are very poor for this model to actually ask them to subscribe in some way to get return on investment. So we have all these users, we're paying for all this infrastructure to keep the users growing and growing. But at the moment, the challenge for us is now how to basically have those users helping us long term by some sort of continual payment. And we can develop other apps and market to them, but the app stores are not helping us at the moment with that model.
Mm-hmm. James, you look like you were agreeing with that. Is that something that you'd care to comment on?
I kind of alluded to the fact that we're just about to kind of relaunch the offer, and part of that will include the ability to have recurring subscriptions, because we hear this a lot, that this kind of one-off payment, and 70 or 30% of that will go to the App Store provider. It just isn't sustainable in terms of the investment that's required to keep these products fresh. So having some kind, I think not only a recurring kind of subscription payment, but the other thing that we're looking at is looking at the kind of things that we can expose from a network perspective, and where an app can generate traffic across the network, looking at opportunities to revenue share there as well. So, developers have got multiple revenue streams that they can plug into, rather than just 70-30 rev shares on app stores.
Sure, that makes a great deal of sense. And coming back to you, Richard, as a company which lives and dies by the success of your apps, do you find the business model restrictive?
We're definitely going after recurring payment as a model rather than very small. For games especially, the app stores, the revenue per game is absolutely minute, which is why the games are a lot simpler typically than you might expect. And if you look at Android, a lot of the games are very, very simple and people aren't investing. So I think that's the way to do it. I was quite interested how you guys are planning to, even before you mentioned that, run all the servers and support and everything. Have you tried things like advertising and things like advertising purchases within the app?
So
this kind of thing?
Basically, as you say, we're focused in the health and fitness sector. I can't really allude to the entire business model, but once you've actually got all these users, it's pretty straightforward to build some of these other application types and then pretty much earn revenue off of that. And then after that, you have a central portal that's associated with that, with subscription models can be done. Right. That's one model. But there's other model of training plans, subscription-based things like in-app purchasing as well, also fits very well within health and fitness sector. That's something that I'm investigating into. I think at some point we'll see the apps actually go free completely, and it's going to be, and that'll be a couple of years, and it'll be very much, you have all its features given for free, and it'll be the upsell within the apps that will, or advertising within the apps that will be a revenue model. And we have to be really mindful when you're developing this. That's going to happen. I think that's my projection.
Well, we're not planning to do any paid apps.
Yeah,
at
so
all,
there we go.
Yeah.
Are you looking at kind of offline sales models, like so going to kind of running clubs and pitching the app into the running club and stuff like that? Or is it all online digital stuff?
Well, I would say that in terms of the market, right from the very beginning, is to trying to come up with the idea, and you know, Graham, very straight on this point, that we hear so many ideas that are local. You know, oh, wouldn't it be great if we put the Scottish curriculum on an app? But it's a global market, and you just have to look at stats all the time. You know, where is your audience and their propensity to pay? So, you know, I think that we usually have to be looking at building stuff that's got total global appeal.
Well, that's one of our challenges. I mean, we provide as also service to build apps, and if you actually look at the SME market, do they need an app? I think the answer quickly is no. If you're Joe Blogs builder, do you need an app? I really doubt that. A mobile web HTML5 is perfectly adequate. Mobile ready app website is perfectly adequate. But if you're a product builder, actually have a physical product that might be augmented by building a proper tangible software into devices. That's very interesting. You know, physical product to actual app products, and big brands. I think at the moment, you know, I'm seeing it's very much me too. Me too.
I think someone was saying that they downloaded a Barclays app. I think it was Barclays. And they were thinking, great, I can bank online now from my phone, and it's a game. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
who wants a game from Barclays Bank? Find where my money's disappeared to.
Yes. It would be similar to Cordia launching their own game for carers.
Yeah.
You know, relieve stress. I'd like to finish up with one last question, then we'll open the floor up for questions, because I'm aware that you haven't had a chance yet to quiz the speakers from this morning. So my final question, I'll ask you all in turn, is at the moment, you know, in the app market, Apple is dominant with Android gaining fast. How do you see the next 5 years?
Can we do 5 months, please?
How do you see it until the end of the afternoon, Richard?
Well, I'm glad I went first on this one.
The next 5 years, there's going to be an awful lot more Android growth. One of the interesting dynamics, I think, is going to be what happens in the developing markets. I think if you look at the developed markets, it's quite easy to see a future for Symbian that isn't too pretty. But if you look at what's happening in developing markets, they've got quite a lot of time to sort out their fragmentation problems and actually, you know, come back and they're going to maintain some volumes. And I suspect the volumes in the developing markets are going to support the developed markets. In 5 years, so I suspect that Apple will remain niche. I think if there was going to be a $100 iPhone, it would have happened by now, and I suspect they're going to keep that market positioning. And probably going to change the way that we use these devices. I suspect that after 5 years, a phone will be the central device of a trio of devices, one of which will be a screen, one of which will be a phone, and one of which will be a keyboard. And you use all three together, you've effectively got a laptop. You pick up the screen and the phone, and you've got something that's effectively a connected e-reader, assuming you've got something like a Mirasol display, so you're doing full motion video and colour with e-reader battery lives. And if you just want a phone, you pick up the phone component. The company that's nearest to doing that at the moment is Redfly. They actually have something that looks like a laptop, but it has no OS. It's a keyboard which Bluetooths to a BlackBerry and a screen that Bluetooths to a BlackBerry. That's where I think we're going.
Thank you. Richard?
Is Symbian still going? Because I heard all sorts of things about Symbian dying or being canned.
It's still there.
Is it still being developed?
Biggest shipping OS in the world.
Yeah.
It's called a smartphone.
I don't know what they call it. But
Right, and my prediction is in 5 years' time, everyone here's predictions will be wrong. And I think there's no need to look forward 5 years. It's too far, and I just think, who knows, really. That's
Okay,
me.
by the end of the afternoon then.
So, I mean, I think he's very well qualified to what he said.
I remember why you weren't originally asked to be on the panel.
Thank you.
James.
So I'm going to avoid making predictions about operating systems. I think one thing we talk about a lot is the evolution of apps themselves. So moving from kind of the world we're in today, where every app is the same for every person, regardless of their context, how they use their phone, blah, 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 moving to a kind of era of smart apps and personalization. So there's a whole bunch of contextual information that we can expose through APIs that mean that the same app that we both download behaves very differently because we have different usage patterns. We might be in a different part of the world. We might be in a different time of the day, on a different network speed. We might have different friends in our network. You know, all of those, there's lots of different nuances of how contextual information can really drive innovation in applications. Because the world we're in today, it's just one size fits all, and it's very limited. Whereas in the future, I think we'll see much more access to contextual information to make apps much more smart, much more sophisticated, much more personalised.
Excellent. So we can look forward to Angry Haggises.
If that's your bag, yeah.
I'm not saying it is. Graham?
I think I will make operating system predictions might as well. Oh, it says, okay. Well, I'm joking anyway. Well, Oracle will obviously own Android by then because they'll sued them, and so Android will be dead. I don't know. It's I think 5 years is far too far as well to predict anything like that. I mean, even the information we're getting about current trends is really changes from month to month. I find it really hard to comprehend all the different analysis that we get as being factual when there's so little information given out by the app stores to actually get that factual information.
Well, sorry to interrupt. One thing that slipped under the radar is the announcement by Apple last week when they relaunched the MacBook Air. They're launching App Store for the Mac.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
so this isn't stopping. This is
No, because what we need is more app stores.
Yeah. There's a gap in the market there. Yeah.
Well, I think the consumer will actually like the App Store because the way it gives a single shelf and easy micropayments and very cheap software, to be honest. So I'm not going to go away overnight until there's an even cheaper way, free way of access to this and still centralized way for them to get trusted software down. And the only way they'll get trusted good software down is if the developer's making money. So, you know, how can you see that these things are going to go away? It's been unleashed on the world now. Yeah.
Excellent. And finally, Kenny, anything to add?
Nothing really much to add apart from, the opportunity seldom disappears overnight. So you have to make the best play to where the audience is. And of course, it'd be disappointing if the iPhone or Apple's App Store disappeared for us, because that's where our future sales are. But we don't think it's going to happen, in the next 5 months, but probably something's going to happen in the next 5 years.
We can all look forward to them being bought by Oracle, was it?